The Manchester United story that has been placed on the back of the Telegraph, an interesting story from James Ducker, basically saying that Manchester United are going to listen to offers for almost every player. Some interesting terms used: they're going to take an ultra-flexible approach this summer, sell-to-buy approach, Miguel. Obviously, this is a sign of the times when you're not doing so well and you've got to cut your cloth and you've got a new ownership model as well. Yeah, it's a good story from James, but also not surprising, just because, well, look what happens at Manchester United every week at this point. They've tried changing so many managers, they probably will change the manager again. And now it's, as has been said, and I think at this point it's hard to justify Ten Hag's persistence in his job. But he has been in a situation, of course, with a group of players where it feels like that needs an overhaul as well. Even if there are good players in there who individually could be fine under a new manager, it's just one of those situations that feels like the whole chemistry of the dressing room just needs to change. And that's why, it isn't surprising given the way Ineos have already come into the club and they're looking at absolutely every element to see what can be improved upon. And I suppose the most prominent is the dressing room. And obviously Marcus Rashford is pictured there on the back of the Telegraph. When we're talking about, PSR, financial fair play, etc., that also needs to be factored into the actions that United will take during this next transfer window and maybe this new period under Ineos. Well, the story says that Garnacho, Manu and Højlund are the three kind of untouchables, if you like. You might see Onana with that trio as well. And I guess they might be surprised that players like Bruno Fernandes are now considered sellable. But I guess if you were to say that every football club in the world, is there a price for every player? Well, yes, there will be. Obviously, Man United have to change the dynamics in that dressing room to improve stuff. So you're looking at the likes of Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Christian Eriksen, who've got a year left. Then you've got Martial, Evans, Raphael Varane, whose contracts run out. So you're going to have a natural wastage anyway. So this is the ideal time to start doing that. It's when you start talking about players like Bruno Fernandes, would you sell him? And obviously you then come to Marcus Rashford and you say, this is a player who scored 30 goals last season, but this season is struggling again. And we're still waiting for that consistent top-level performer to emerge. And was he now 26? You might have great movement in the transfer market in the summer if Kylian Mbappé does, as we suspect, go to Real Madrid. Does PSG then become an option for Marcus Rashford? Would Man United consider selling them? You only signed a PS $325,000 a week deal last summer, so it would be a big move to let him go. But I think it has to be seen as a new broom. And I guess as Miguel was saying, you suspect Ten Hag will be possibly part of what is swept out come this summer. But you need an overhaul in the playing personnel as well to get the fans back on board. They've seen these players fail too many times now. They've seen the players slip further and further behind Manchester City. There isn't a style of play that can see too many shots. They're considered quite a vulnerable group as well. Gary Neville has called them out quite a lot of times, and you think if there was a stronger characteristic inside the dressing room, they'd come back fighting, but they don't. This seems like the ideal time now to do that reset that Radcliffe is promising to do. Obviously Miguel, the picture highlighting Marcus Rashford in particular on one side, Erik Ten Hag on the other. How much influence do you think Marcus Rashford's future, or how much influence do you think Erik Ten Hag's future has on Marcus Rashford's decision to maybe start thinking further than Manchester United? I think any arse will make decisions on their own merit. I don't think they'll all be independent in that sense. Rashford, there have been murmurs all season, of course. United might consider it. Nothing ever confirmed. But on the other side of that as well, Rashford himself looks like someone who could just do with a fresh start, or at least some things to change around him. It does feel like it's got that dysfunctional, and this is actually a massive opportunity for Manchester United. That's actually the word they are using. Given the kind of marginal gains culture and all that, and the way the Ineos group speak about it, opportunity is the word they hear a lot now. People might say that's quite a kind word for the situation, but that's what they're looking at. For Rashford, maybe too, it's an opportunity, either for a different system at United, or a different dressing room, or maybe a different club.